This is a 160 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff Attorney Mr. Payette, capital P-Y-A-T-T. Defense Attorney Mr. Watts, capital W-A-T-T-S. And we'll start with the plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. 6 to 8 feet, roughly, maybe, all right, or like where the easel is to maybe like right here. That appears to be about 15 feet. Oh, sorry, next to the witness stand to where the easel is. Actually, why don't I just walk it? It's about 11 feet from an estimate. Yes. Is that about how far it was? I would say so. All right. When the officers were joking and talking about her underwear, can you give us about how loud they were talking? Not very loud, like maybe how me and you are talking, like right now. Not shouting, but not just having a normal discussion under their breath kind of a thing. Under their breath. Well, not kind of just not yelling like purposefully for everybody in the world to hear, talking amongst them like they're, are you saying not loud but not quiet, just normal, maybe a couple decibels below normal? Was it your understanding that they were trying to be really respectful to her because she was sitting in that chair facing during the search? I would say probably not. Okay, ma'am, did you tell Detective Rios that you were sure that she could hear that discussion? I don't remember saying that I was sure she could hear. I don't remember that. Okay, would it refresh your memory if you showed me a copy of? I'll look at it, but all right, page 3, counsel, you may approach. Thank you, Your Honor. Did that refresh your memory at all, ma'am? Yes. Does it refresh your memory? I mean, it kind of says what I said earlier, because after that little notation that you had, it said I wouldn't be surprised if she had heard it. Okay, so possible. Do you also remember saying that you were sure she could have? I don't remember. It's twisting my words. What I'm saying is I'm sure she could have. She could have easily. I wouldn't be surprised if she said it. That's what it says, and that's what I'm sticking with. Ma'am, I'm not twisting your words. No, I asked you specifically, did you say that you're sure she could have? Yes. Okay, did you? Is it your testimony that you never saw Officer West talking to her? I don't remember if I saw him talking to her. I want to go back very briefly to what you did hear those officers talking about. You kind of said amongst themselves a couple decibels down. Do you remember telling Detective Rios that you remember hearing someone saying if these were hers? Yes, I remember asking if they were hers. Okay, not asking her, like saying, oh, are these hers? Kind of like that, in that tone. Oh, joking around. Oh, I wonder if these are hers. Yeah, I remember saying that, I think. Yeah, I do. Sorry, I'm just... Why does that stand out in your mind, ma'am? I don't know. You specifically recall? Because I remember thinking to myself, like in my opinion, myself, I can't even talk, sorry. I remember thinking these guys are being retarded and immature. That's what I remember thinking. Okay, is it fair to say, ma'am, that you don't have that good of a recollection of that night? Yeah, yes, right now I don't. I mean, I didn't. I was fuzzy when they had asked me, so right now I'm really still kind of fuzzy, so I'm trying my best. But when Detective Rios and Detective Jones and Detective Brock were questioning you regarding your training officer, who you referred to as someone that you could joke around with, someone that you were close with, is it fair to say that you were hesitant in discussing Link's role in all this? No, I wouldn't say that. Okay, all right, nothing further at this time, Your Honor. All right, additional cross-examination. Thank you. You're welcome. Ms. North, would it be fair to say until you were interviewed, at least a couple, if not several months after the May 18th, 2005 incident, what occurred on May 18th really held no significance for you, correct? Correct. And so that account for part of the difficulty in remembering what happened on that night? Yes. And even harder for you now, almost a year and a half later? Yes. But you're doing your best to give accurate and truthful testimony? Absolutely. And so I'm certain you just responded to the prosecution that despite having a friendly relationship with Jim Link, you wouldn't lie for him, would you? No, I would never lie for anybody. In fact, you know you have an obligation today to tell the truth, right? Absolutely. Are you upholding to that obligation? Absolutely. Now, quite a bit of questions were asked of you by Mr. Payette regarding, hey, it looks like we've got all these facts that indicate she was involved in something. We've already established the reality is you didn't have enough to arrest her on that night from your knowledge and experience, right? I'm sorry, what was the question again? Can the reporter read it back? Yes, my knowledge and experience at the time, I agree. Thank you, okay, and again, you were not a narcotics expert enough that you could form an opinion on May 18th, 2005, that with certainty she was under the influence, correct? Yes. And it's your training that you have to be pretty darn certain about the facts before you make an arrest, right? Yes. Again, so there's no mistake, you're not the decision maker on that night, are you? No, we are pushed to make decisions. Obviously in training we need to have the confidence in everything, but the main person that would make the decision would be my training officer at the time. Thank you. And again, Jim Link was there, right? Yes, he was. Officer West? Yes, he was. Sergeant Lang? Yes, he was. They all knew what was going on in that apartment, right? Objection, speculation, sustained. You saw Sergeant Lang walk around the apartment, right? I remember him being there, yes. And Officer West, yes. And do you know of any reason that if Officer West wanted to make an arrest of her that he couldn't have? No. What was your response? I'm sorry. He could have. Okay, so there's no latent police department policy that says only the handling officer unit can make an arrest, right? Usually the initial officer would be the one making the arrest. However, if an officer feels strongly enough about a case and goes to you, hey, you know what, actually don't feel good about this person, I want to make an arrest, they could, right? Yes. Right, the word list. We have detective, capital D on detective, Rios, capital R-I-O-S. Officer West, capital O on officer, West, capital W-E-S-T. Detective Jones, again, capital D on detective, Jones, capital J-O-N-E-S. Detective Brock, capital B-R-O-C-K. Jim Link, capital J-I-M, new word, capital L-I-N-K. Ms. MS period North, capital N-O-R-T-H. Sergeant Lang, capital S on Sergeant, Lang, capital L-A-N-G-E. Layton Police Department, capital L-A-Y-T-O-N, capital P on Police, capital D on Department. And that is it for the word list. And that will conclude our 160 Q&A practice test.